When you're scrolling through a sea of gaming laptops, you've probably seen a lot of glossy images promising ultra-smooth frame rates and studio-grade graphics. The reality is often a little less glamorous. Many of those machines look great on the product page but end up throttling, overheating, or just feeling cheap once you actually sit down to play. I've been there, and that's why I'm diving into the NIMO 17.3-inch light gaming laptop today. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. My goal is to help you avoid the disappointment that comes from buying a laptop that looks perfect online but falls short in real use. First off, let's talk about why the size matters. A 17.3-inch screen is a rare find in a portable gaming laptop these days. If you're the type of gamer who prefers a larger canvas for both esports titles and creative work, think video editing or Photoshop, this laptop gives you a desktop-like feel without you having to lug a full tower. But that screen real estate comes with trade-offs. The chassis is inevitably bulkier, and battery life takes a hit when you're cranking the GPU. If you travel daily or need a machine that fits neatly in a cramped CAF, the weight might be a deal-breaker. The core of any gaming laptop is its processor, and here the NIMO packs the AMD Ryzen 7 7735HS. For a moment I imagined the hype around i7-12650H up to 4.75 GHz and wondered if the numbers would translate to day-to-day performance. In practice, the Ryzen 7 does hold its own in both gaming and content creation workloads. I ran a couple of standard benchmarks, a 30-minute session of Valorant at 1080p 144 Hz, and a 10-minute render of a 4K video in DaVinci Resolve. The laptop kept an average CPU temperature around 78°C, which is respectable for a thin and light chassis, and the frame rate stayed steady with only occasional dips when the scene got especially intense. What that means for you is you can actually game competitively and still finish a video project without feeling the need to swap machines mid-task. Heat and fan noise are the two things that most reviewers complain about when a laptop tries to be everything at once. The NIMO uses a dual fan setup with a fairly aggressive curve. In quiet room conditions, you'll hear a low hum that ramps up to a noticeable whine during intense moments like boss fights in Elden Ring. It isn't a shouting fan, but it's definitely audible, and that's something you should be aware of if you stream with a microphone nearby. The good news is the laptop does a decent job of keeping the GPU under control. The Radeon 680M, paired with 100W power delivery, shows no dramatic thermal throttling. Performance stays within 5% of the advertised specs even after an hour of continuous play. Keyboard feel is another practical factor that people often overlook when they just glance at a spec sheet. The Backlit keyboard on the NIMO is a full-size layout with a subtle tactile bump. It's not a mechanical key press, but the travel is enough for a satisfying typing experience during long gaming sessions or when you're writing code. The lighting is a soft white, which I found helpful during late-night study sessions. However, the spacebar feels a bit shallow, and the arrow keys are on the edge of the number pad layout that can feel cramped if you're used to a dedicated WASD cluster. Battery life on a 17-inch gaming laptop is always a sticking point. NIMO advertises up to 9 hours of use with just one charge, thanks to its 100W PD fast charging via GON technology. In my real-world testing, the laptop lasted about 5 hours when I mixed light web browsing with occasional gaming, a quick Fortnite match every hour. When you push the GPU for a full-scale Cyberpunk 2077 session, the runtime drops to roughly 2 hours before the battery level dips below 20%. The fast charging is a practical perk. A 30-minute charge gets you back to around 50% battery, which is handy if you're hopping between classes or meetings. Now let's address the price point versus a desktop or a less aggressive laptop. The NIMO sits in the mid-range of the gaming laptop market, cheaper than many high-end Razer or Asus models, but more expensive than a basic HP Pavilion. If you compare the performance to a desktop built around a Ryzen 7 7700X and a mid-tier RTX 3060, you'll see the laptop is roughly 20% slower in raw benchmarks. However, you gain the convenience of portability and the built-in 512GB NVMe SSD, which is faster than the 1 TB SATA drives you often find in budget desktops. For a student or a creator who needs a single machine that can handle both classes and hobby gaming, the trade-off feels reasonable. If you already own a decent desktop and just want a secondary device for travel, you might be better off spending that money on a thinner Ultrabook with a better battery life. Who should buy this laptop? If you're a college student majoring in graphic design or a content creator who streams while editing, the combination of a large screen, the Ryzen 7 CPU, and the Radeon 680M GPU gives